Well, the fever is fast and furious. It's NBA free agent deadline. Joining us right now is David Aldridge from The Athletic. And there have been moves aplenty, under the table already. So let's get right into it. And I want to take a couple looks at, first off, this notion that Kawhi Leonard is on his way back to Toronto. These appear to be serious conversations.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a marriage that can work north of the border again?
Yeah, I do. I think, you know, Kawhi, like, most guys that are in their mid 30s now, I don't mean this in a bad way, but it's really more about their next contract than their next chance at a ring. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
they know their shelf life is limited. They got to max out, make as much money as they possibly can. The Clippers are not going to give Kawhi another extension, at the number he's looking at. I think there's a better chance that Toronto would, because of the scarcity of the talent, right? He's just better than anybody else they have. Still a very good player, and could help them in the East, get from, you know, a kind of middle of the pack sort, playoff team that really isn't a contender to more of a team that has a chance to contend in the East. So it makes sense. It makes sense. You know, it, the Clippers, they traded for Darius Garland and they drafted Keaton Vogler in the first round. So clearly they're going in a young direction now, younger direction now. So the chance for them to get maybe a pick or two and a young player, probably Brandon Ingram as well, who's younger than Kawhi, would make sense for them. And it's a marriage that sort of makes sense. And the Clippers, or I should say, the Raptors know that free agents, top free agents aren't likely to have Toronto on the top of their list. So, a chance to get even a 34, 35-year-old Kawhi, who probably still has another 2 or 3 good years in him, if he can stay healthy, big if for Kawhi, makes some sense.
All right. Well, make this one make sense for me.
Mhm.
Portland getting John Morant. Last I
Mhm.
checked, they still have Damian Lillard. To me, if I'm an opposing team offensively, I'm looking to shred them. That's got to be the smallest backcourt in the league. Um,
Yeah,
what do you make of
fair.
what do you make of that?
I think it's a lot like what the Wizards did with Anthony Davis. Like you have a chance to get a guy who's been a great player for very little. You do it like, because again, Portland's not a place where free agents are going to go. Like if John Morant were a free agent this offseason, even with all of the baggage he's amassed the last couple of years, he's not going to have Portland at the top of his list of places I want to go, right? So this is a chance for them to get a guy under contract, who has played at a very high level at points in his career. Um, but you're right, Mark. I mean, it's not just Damian Lillard, it's Jrue Holiday, it's Scoot Henderson. They got 4 point guards, like who all want to play, So I can't believe that they're going to go to camp with 4 point guards on their roster. Like that doesn't make any sense. You have to trade one or two of those guys. Um, your return for Giroux is probably not as good as it would have been a couple of years ago, but Giroux is still can help a good team where he's not doesn't get asked to be like a top scorer or something like that. So he could certainly help a contending team going forward next year. Scoot Henderson, has some value. He played much better last year. He had a very solid season last year for Portland. So maybe he's not what everybody kind of thought he would be in terms of being like a lead guard, an elite level guard, but he can be a very good rotational guard in this league. He can start for a lot of teams in this league. So you could get something for him. I don't think to me, Dame is more, I mean, you're not making long range plans around Damian, right? Like, I mean, he's
Right.
36, 35, 36 years old. I'm not sure exactly how old he is, but coming off an Achilles tear, like you're not planning on him being a part of this thing long term. it's more about, to me, it's more about Scoot Henderson and Drew Holiday. And if you bring in John Morant in, like he's going to have the rock, like he should. Like that makes no sense for him to be an off guard. That doesn't make any sense. Like he's got to have the ball in his hands to get the most out of him. So they have to adjust their roster, I think, and I suspect they will this summer.
There's still plenty of time to do that. David Aldridge from the Athletic is our guest as we continue. I want to ask you now about the soap opera that goes on in Boston with
Hmm.
Jaylen Brown. I mean, third
Yeah,
team All NBA, could
yeah,
have easily been an MVP, depending on how you want to look at the entire body of work. But where do you think he fits most? I'm hearing Detroit would be a great landing spot for him.
I
Um,
mean,
they've even talked about Golden State. What's the most reliable spot that you could see him moving to right
yeah.
now?
I mean, there's obviously a lot of teams could use Jalen Brown, right? Like there's a lot of teams that could plug in. He's a plug and play. He's an all-star. He was a Finals MVP 2 years ago. Like, this idea that's being advanced by some people, not everybody, in the advanced stats community that he's not any good. Like, is just absurd. Like, it doesn't like you can numbers are a valuable tool, and whatever number you come up with that has some sort of predictive value is something that you should consider, right, when you're looking at a player in any sport. But to base everything on a number, which some of these people are doing, and going out of their way to say, no, you have it all wrong. Jaylen Brown is not a good basketball player. Like, that's ridiculous. That's just a ridiculous statement from people that they they feed into every stereotype of the analytics community. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
And they bring it on themselves when they make these kinds of assertions. You can say, "Hey, I think Jaylen Brown's a good player, but he's not efficient in these areas. Here's some areas where he's not as efficient as you would like a superstar to be." And I will listen to that argument. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I'll listen to that.
You'll
But
listen
to
to
just
it.
but to just to come out and to say anonymously, of course, well, he's the seventh best player on the Celtics. What?
Yeah. Obviously, you don't know the eye test.
Come on, that's ridiculous. Even if I allow that the eye test is fallible as well, like the eye test doesn't tell you everything either.
Right.
But you can't put your lips around Jaylen Brown is the seventh best player on the Boston Celtics and be taken seriously by other people. Like that's just ridiculous. And it's you trying to set an agenda to justify the numbers you came up with. Instead of saying, well, these are the numbers I came up with, but there's some context to them, obviously, that I have to accept.
I'm glad you brought context into the question because I'm just wondering in this world that we live in right now, socially, if
Yeah,
his presence on social media is intimidating because, I mean, he's an intelligent black man. I
yeah,
mean,
definitely could be a part of it, Mark, for sure, for sure. It'd be ridiculous, it'd be naive in the extreme for me to say that plays no role in this. Like,
David Aldridge is our guest from The Athletic as we talk some NBA trade stuff. Another interesting person that's come up, DA, has been the name Mitchell Robinson.
yeah,
I'm hearing a lot of stuff about this, backup center. I don't think that you can look at him as a starting center, but what's the market like for him? And
yeah.
what would that do to the Knicks to lose a backup center of his ilk?
I mean, to me, Mark, this is the perfect example of, Mitchell Robinson's value to the Knicks is probably greater than Mitchell Robinson's value to any other team in the league. Not because he's not good at what he does. He's the best offensive rebounder in the league. But what he brings to them, not just the numbers, but the energy and the productivity and all that.
Toughness.
I the toughness, right? And the defense. I think I think you're right. I don't know that most teams in the league view him as a starting center just because offensively he's not doesn't score very much, and he can't make free throws. So you really, if his ability to get to the basket and get fouled is lost because he shoots less than 50% from the line. So you look at him as a really good backup center. I think there's a market for him to be sure. I think there are several teams that will be looking to give him the mid-level, which is about what he's making now. Um, but to give him the mid-level exception, um, it kind of depends. There's some other centerpieces that need to get resolved first, like Jalen Duren, who's a
Hmm.
restricted free agent with Detroit, who's looking at offers like with Sacramento. Like if Sacramento got Jalen Duren, they wouldn't want Mitchell Robinson, but if they didn't get Jalen Duren, they would want Mitchell Robinson. You know what I mean? So,
Yes.
so it kind of depends, but there is a market for Mitchell Robinson, and I think once Jalen Duren and Walker Kessler and a couple of the other centers that are still out there get resolved, I think he'll get resolved. He's on that next level probably.
Okay, now let's talk about the king, LeBron James.
Yeah,
All over the place right now, but won't return apparently the Lakers calls, which I find at the very least perplexing. You know what I'm saying? Why would you not at least take the call if
right,
you want to stay there, you want to stay with your kid and the whole bit?
right.
Do you buy into the notion that when Draymond Green sort of opts out of his contract, that he's trying to clearing cap space for a guy who put his foot on the man's package, right?
Well,
In
yeah.
the NBA Finals back in the day.
I mean, that doesn't, everybody winds up playing for everybody more over the course of time. You play with most of the league the way this is going now. If you're in the league as long as LeBron is, you wind up playing with everybody at some point. So I don't think that's going to be a problem at all. I think he wants to look around and see if there's something out there that makes more sense than going back to the Lakers because it doesn't. I think he knows the Lakers, as currently constituted, just aren't a real threat in the West. Like they've tried, they got Luka, which was a great, huge boom for them. And I get why they re-signed Austin Reeves and gave him all the money, but that doesn't change the fact that that is a backcourt that can't guard anybody. It's a starting backcourt
Right.
that can guard neither position, right? And LeBron at this age, I mean, LeBron was never a great individual defender, but when he was younger, he was a very good team defender. He could, he was smart. He read angles. He was long. He could deflect, get in passing lanes and stuff like that, block shots. Can't really do that anymore. And they tried DeAndre Ayton. That didn't work either,
Ooh,
right? You know what I mean?
yeah.
So that, like the center market is not very robust. Um, and even if they went and got Mitchell Robinson, the same problems we talked about before would be there with Mitchell Robinson. Like you can't play him a certain amount of minutes because he just doesn't score enough points to warrant it. So um I think he realizes that probably going back doesn't get them any closer to being a contender.
Well,
And
does him
yeah,
going to Golden State get them any
no, but it
closer to
will be
being a
more fun.
contender?
But it would be more fun. He will get to play with Steph, who he likes. They've become very good friends actually over the
I
years.
play a lot of golf together. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They were big time rivals back in the day, but that was a decade ago. Now it's like you said, they play golf, drink wine together, all that stuff, right? And so I think, and they played in the Olympics together the last time. So I think there's a friendship there. It's like, well, if I'm gonna play one more year, I want to have fun doing it, right? And so I'm gonna watch Steph shoot some bombs, and then maybe like they're trying to convince the Wizards to trade Anthony Davis, which is not going to happen. Like, so that's just it's not happening. But maybe there's another player that he wants to play with. I mean, he obviously played with AD, won a chip with him a few years ago in LA. But I think LeBron is like, let me just have some fun this last year. If I'm gonna play, I want to play one more year, and I'd like to have some fun. I really
Well,
do believe it's no deeper than that. Like,
well, let me put up an argument for the Lakers for a second. Wouldn't he have
mhm.
more fun playing with Bronny that last year?
Sure, 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 sure. And that is a real thing, and he may well go back for that reason. Sure, yes, that is definitely a consideration for him. I think they picked up Ronnie's his option year for next year, so he's going to be there next year. So yes, of course. And as you mentioned before, that's where the family is. His wife is there. Their younger son is there. So there, it's not that he wants to leave LA. I think it's just like he's thinking about, you know, LeBron. Look, LeBron said the truest thing a long time ago when he said he was chasing a ghost in Michael Jordan. And he's still chasing that ghost. Like he would like to try to have a chance to win a championship somewhere. And it's not going to be with the Lakers next year. It just isn't. I mean, they can talk about what they want to talk about. They're not good enough. They're just not good enough.
There's one thing to be not good enough with the Lakers
Hmm.
on the court. What do
Yeah.
you make of their front office though? What do you make of the job that Rob Pelinka is doing, and
Well,
shopping for the groceries, if you will?
yeah, no, I mean, I would say again that they've been kind of middle of the pack. I'm not saying that as like that's neither a criticism nor
A compliment.
a compliment, right? Yeah. They just, he got Luca, and that was a great trade, but you have to do more than that. Like you have to put players around Luca that are good enough, and they don't have the draft capital or the players necessary to make that trade to bring in a great second player. Now they're going to pay Austin Reeves like he's a great second player. Maybe he is offensively, but again, the defensive misgivings are so great with him and Luca. I just don't know. I think it's like pouring water into a colander, you know what I mean, with a hole in it, like,
it
so I
it
mean, it
they
just goes
defy
right
me.
out the other end,
Yeah.
So
I just still have this vision of when Jerry West was running the show.
different.
I'm that
Sure.
old, and
Yes.
and it's mind-boggling to watch how a lot of people have often talked about how the Lakers were run like a mom and pop operation, but when they were that mom and pop operation,
Right.
they were winning championships. And right
Sure.
now,
Yes.
Showtime is no time anymore.
Well, I don't know. Jerry was not only one of the greatest players of all time, but one of the greatest executives of all time. Like Jerry could make things happen that are difficult to pull off. And that's part of the challenge that the Lakers face with under their new ownership and their new management. It's just harder. The salaries are so big now. It's just harder to trade people than it was before, or to trade for people. So it's a much more difficult landscape to navigate. But there's no question, Mark. Like Jerry was that dude. Like Jerry would when Jerry West called, you picked up the phone and you basically did what he wants you to do. So,
Right,
so
right,
he
exactly.
had a very strong force of personality. So
And a high basketball IQ. And I
no
think to
doubt,
me,
absolutely.
that's one of the things that if I were a total Lakers fan, I'd be most frustrated with
Certainly.
is the inefficiency of the front office.
Yeah,
Even when we
they
were
haven't
giving
been,
Kurt
they haven't,
Rambis grief,
yeah,
he
they
was
haven't killed it. They haven't killed it. Like they won a chip and they won a chip. I don't take away from it because it was during COVID. They won 16
they
playoff
did.
games like everybody else. Like, so they got the chip. So that gives them a certain kind of, grace period. But that was 5 years ago.
That's what I'm
Saying?
saying. 5 years without a championship
And they
and
haven't
and the
really
Clippers
come close
making more
since then. You know
headlines.
what
Come on,
I
man.
mean?
Come on.
Yeah, yeah. I got you.
Let me let you go, I guess, on this one because I'm trying to figure out where does Jaylen Brown have the biggest impact if he could
Mm,
go somewhere? Because to me,
okay.
if I look at him and for purposes of work now, I got to cover the Pistons a lot more than I have.
Sure, sure,
Well, I could
sure.
see him in the backcourt with Cade Cunningham, and then that may change the apple cart just a little bit in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, no
What would
doubt.
you think of a move like that?
I mean, Jaylen Brown is a plug and play. He's an all-star. He's a finals MVP. Like he's not just some dude that you just like like he helps every team, right? Like how could he not help your team with his defense and ability to make tough shots? He's a really good player. Would he help Detroit? Sure. Would he help Portland? Yes. Would he help, would he help I'm trying to think of other teams that have been mentioned with him, like
Denver is another one of them too.
Denver? Yes. Would he help Denver? Yes. You know what
I
I
could see if I'm Denver fan, I'm thinking, wow, the inside outside combination of here and
mean?
Joker, oh man,
Right,
and
right.
that would give them something to compete with the teams who seem to be at the top of the food
I
chain,
mean,
being
yes,
Oklahoma City
sure, sure, sure. Would he help
and,
Minnesota?
and
Yes.
San
Yeah.
Antonio. Yeah,
Yeah, so he helps everybody, right? And so it's just a question of are they going to get what you should get for a player of his caliber with his resume with his winning, like it boggles my mind that a guy can lead. They lose their best player for basically the whole season. They He takes them to 56 wins, and it's just like, yeah, you're a bum. You can't play. Like what? Like what?
But do you buy
What are you
into the notion
talking
that it was
about?
about
That's
his?
ridiculous. Like,
Yeah, but they're trying to make it seem like it was his social media presence when he said he had the most fun he ever had in a season.
yeah,
And
and
I
I
mean,
just
that
thought,
was just blown so out of
yeah,
proportion to me.
exactly. I thought that was so unfair because you understand what he's saying. What he's saying is none of y'all thought we were going to be any good. Y'all all thought we were going to suck, and we won 56 games. So I'm sticking it up all your rear ends. You know what I mean? That's what he was saying.
He
Like, of
was.
course, that's what he was saying. Like, come on, don't be obtuse about this because you don't like his metrics. You know what I mean? Like, or you don't like whatever he does off the court. Like, come on, stop it. Like, he's a really good player. Um, to say he's the seventh best player on the Celtics is just ludicrous and stupid. And, like you, I can come up with any number that proves that this player is great and this player sucks. That doesn't mean I'm right.
Right.
And any number without context is meaningless. Like you can't just say because he shoots X from 2 point range and Y from 3 point range that means I can determine if he's a good basketball player or not. And I think that's the argument that he's pushing back on is that some, not everybody, because I think most people who are in analytics on NBA teams understand it's one tool. It's not the only tool. But
Right.
there is, as it is in all of our society these days, Mark, there is a loud minority that skews kind of the perception because they're so loud and strident about their opinions of things that they make you feel like everybody feels that way. And they don't, but it feels that way because that's all you see on social media. And so you feel like, I think a lot of players feel like they're being erased, especially the retired players,
Mm-hmm.
because people who weren't born in the 80s or 90s are coming up with all these hot takes about how the game sucked in the 80s or 90s because they looked at a videotape of a game, or
Right.
they read a box score and they think they know what the game was like back then. And it's just like you don't know what you're talking about. You should shut up and listen to people who do know what they're talking about.
And
I
who
was
was
just
there
an
and have seen it.
example.
You're right.
I was just this example, Mark. I never saw Will Chamberlain play a basketball game. Never
No.
saw it. I was too young.
Right.
So here's what I do. I talk to people who did watch him, and I asked them what was he like as a player,
Mm-hmm.
and they all say the same thing. You can't believe how dominant he was. Like he was unbelievable, and that's where I will go. I'm going to defer to the people that actually saw this dude hoop.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
instead of coming up with some hot take based on a box score that I looked at and think that's going to unlock the mysteries of Will Chamberlain to me. You know what I mean? Like,
I do know. I do. The game has changed so much, and
right.
I
It's a
was going to
completely
let you
different
go.
game with different
Yeah.
rules. you
All
know?
right. I'm gonna take it to a somber place on the playoffs. What do we make of this latest gambling thing with Malik Beasley and that crew?
Yeah.
Da, how can the league ever get their arms around it when you're in bed with betting parlors?
Yeah, I don't know if it can. To be honest, I don't know how you can, Mark. I don't think this is a solvable problem. When you extol the virtues of people gambling, which the league has done, full embrace. It's koala bear embrace of gambling, like uh, and then say, but don't do that kind of gambling. That's the bad gambling.
Right.
Like what?
It's the
I
height
don't
of
know if it's a distinction without a
hypocritical, right?
difference, man. Like you can't do it. You can't do it. Like either you're all in or you're all out. Like you can't say gambling is a good thing because it makes the game more exciting, but prop bets are bad. Don't do that.
Right.
Which is the easiest way for regular people to access betting is to do a prop bet. That's the simplest way and usually the most cost effective because it doesn't cost as much. So if you want them to gamble, that's how they gamble. Now you don't like how they gamble because it drives your players crazy and your players have complained about it. So now you want to say, but don't do the prop betting. Well, that just encourages people to spend more money on gambling. Like, what are we talking about? Like it doesn't work, and they can talk themselves into it, but they're not talking me into it. It's not doesn't work. It's not good for the game, and this is not the last we're going to hear of this. There's going to be other players, and as I keep saying, it's just a matter of time before it's somebody that we really care about as a player.
See this
Uh,
box?
mhm. Yeah,
Pandora's in it.
yeah,
she's
that's right.
she's out of the closet now.
That's right. And she's got some things to say.
She had a lot to say about a lot of people. And trouble is, I think she's going to be speaking under oath a whole lot.
Yeah, you got that
We got
right. That's right.
talk about storylines for the fall coming up in the NBA.
Right,
That's my
right,
guy,
right.
David Aldridge, holding it down at the Athletic. I know you got a million and one things to do today. Thank you for taking the time to join us. And maybe we can wrap our arms around this after free agency ends.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Be happy to come back anytime, Mark.
Stay with us. We got more of what you came here for on the other side. It's OG Sports Rap on the network. Remember, download the mobile app, Sports Rap Network. We all we got.